They say you're crazy, a conspiracy theorist, a tinfoil hat lunatic, a problem. Why? Because you ask questions, because you see through the smoke, because you stopped saluting the nonsense and started calling it what it is. Welcome to life on the outside, the razor-edged reality of being awake in a woke world. They call it progress. We call it programming. They call it inclusion. We call it indoctrination. They say, trust the science. We say, which science? The one that changes every election cycle? In this world flipped upside down, truth is hate speech, morality is offensive, and common sense is now a crime. In this explosive episode, we're asking the questions no one's allowed to ask. What does it really mean to be awake, and how is it different from being woke? Why is truth labeled hate, but lies called tolerance? Who benefits from this mass delusion of virtue signaling, censorship, and fake empowerment? Why are free thinkers the most targeted, censored, and silenced voices in society? Because the truth is, being awake isn't trendy. It's not corporate sponsored, it's not comfortable, convenient, or cute. Being awake means standing alone on solid ground, while the rest of the world builds castles in the quicksand of emotional narratives. So if you've ever felt like the world went insane and you were the only one who noticed, you're not alone, you're not broken, you're awake in a system that's designed to keep you asleep. Let's burn the false light and bring the truth into the open. Woke, awake. Don't confuse the spell with the alarm clock. Let's get something straight from the jump. Being woke is not the same as being awake. In fact, the two are almost polar opposites. Woke is a slogan. Awake is a state of war. Woke says everything is offensive unless we say it's not. There are infinite truths except yours. Feelings trump facts unless your facts match ours. But being awake? That means your eyes are wide open to the real game being played. You're not buying into the matrix of mass manipulation. You recognize media as a mouthpiece, not a mirror. You see agendas, not accidents. You question the narrative even if it gets you banned, blocked, or branded. Wokeness is built on identity politics, groupthink, and emotional overreaction. It's fueled by algorithms, blue checkmarks, and state-approved outrage. Being awake rips the mask off the clown show and says, not only do I see you, I'm not laughing. So let's draw the line. Woke is trendy. Awake is lonely. Woke is a costume. Awake is a calling. Woke changes with hashtags. Awake stays rooted in truth that never moves. Woke is the decoy. Awake is the threat. Weaponize compassion, how the woke agenda uses your heart against you. Here's the dirty secret they never want you to figure out. Wokeness survives by hijacking compassion, not logic, not truth, not even justice. It wraps manipulation in kindness, and it works. The average person doesn't fall for the woke agenda because they're evil. They fall for it because they don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. That's the trap. Woke culture is emotional blackmail. It weaponizes words like inclusivity, tolerance, safety, love wins. But here's what they don't tell you. Inclusivity means forced acceptance of confusion. Tolerance means zero tolerance for truth. Safety means censorship and silence. Love wins really means truth loses. Woke ideology thrives on triggering, because when you're triggered, you're not thinking, you're reacting, and reactions are easier to control. They use your empathy against you, twisting your God-given conscience into a muzzle. But compassion without truth is just manipulation. And silence in the face of deception, that's not love, that's betrayal. If you think loving someone means lying to them, you're not compassionate, you're controlled. Real love speaks truth even when it hurts. Real courage stands alone when the mob screams. Real compassion says, I love you enough to tell you what you don't want to hear. Censorship disguised as sensitivity. Why they're canceling truth itself. You've heard the line. That's offensive, you can't say that. Over and over until your brain starts censoring itself before you even speak. But here's the real agenda. They're not protecting people from hate. They're protecting the system from truth. Sensitivity is the Trojan horse. If you say two genders exist, or that biology is real, or that truth doesn't care about your feelings, you're labeled a threat. They use terms like hate speech to shut down scripture, misinformation to ban independent thinkers, disinformation to kill dissent, community guidelines to make sure the only community is a programmed one. Let's call it what it is, a digital inquisition. But instead of torches, they use terms of service. Instead of stakes, they use shadow bans, demonetization, and cancel mobs. They've made truth itself illegal, not with prison bars, but with social pressure and fear of exile. Say the wrong thing at work, fired. Post the wrong meme, deleted. Preach the word, labeled a hate group. They don't have to put you in jail. They make you build your own. Self-censorship is their ultimate goal. Get you to shut your mouth, police your thoughts, and apologize for thinking at all. You're not crazy. You're not dangerous. You're just awake in a system designed to silence lions and reward sheep. So let this burn in your bones. Truth sounds like hate to those who hate the truth. Keep speaking it anyway. Alone, mocked, and unafraid. The cost of staying awake. Let's talk about the part most people don't post on Instagram. Being awake hurts. It's not cool, it's not popular, and it definitely ain't safe. This isn't a badge you wear, it's a weight you carry. You'll be mocked, misunderstood, called a fanatic, cut off, labeled dangerous, and left out of everything that used to feel normal. And guess what? That's how you know you're on the right side of history. Jesus wasn't mainstream. Noah built an ark while the world laughed. Paul got beat, jailed, and still wouldn't shut up. John the Baptist screamed truth in a wilderness full of lies. The truth isn't popular. It's polarizing. It divides families, burns bridges, and gets you canceled by cowards in suits. But when you're truly awake, something changes. You stop chasing approval. You stop begging to belong. You start standing like a rock in a river of compromise. You become unshakable. And in a world built on sand, a rock is a threat. A remnant rising, why being awake is the front line of God's plan. If you've made it this far, you already know this isn't just political. It's not just cultural. This is spiritual warfare, and truth tellers are on the front lines. You were called out of the fog for a reason, not to stay quiet, not to blend in, but to stand, because when the world bows to Babylon, God raises a remnant. This awakening isn't about rebellion, it's about alignment. This is the hour when warriors rise from every broken system and say, I will not bow to lies. I will not trade truth for comfort. I will not shut up when they tell me to sit down. You're awake because you're needed. You're not a mistake. You're a weapon, a light in the last hour. Yes, it costs everything to stay awake, but the price of going back to sleep, your soul. So be bold, be hated, be mocked, be misunderstood, but above all, be faithful. Because being awake in a woke world is not a curse, it's a calling. And the ones who know the truth now will lead the way when the world burns out. You're not crazy, you're not alone, you're rock solid.